Like every Monday night, you are checking out Breakfast Super Raw.
Bon appetit, as Don, Tony, and Mish dish out their opinions about the world of pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Super Raw.
And now, your host, Mish and Don Tony.
I needed a good laugh tonight. What's up, everybody? It is Monday night, October 4th, 2021. Night 2 of the draft is in the books. I am Don Tony. This is Breakfast Soup Raw. And join along with me is...
Anthony Missionary Thomas. What's going on, DT? What's going on?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Obviously, I'm just messing around, everyone. Here. Let me in. Fuck you. Where did I go? I like the right. Now I look like Jericho, the Painmaker. I bet you Jericho got part of his Painmaker from this.
Probably.
Should I sing Judas? Judas in. What I'd like to have right now, let me change this. There we go. Better. Much better. Better. I'm telling you, I think Jericho got part of that idea from the Snapchat.
Yeah.
Then again, maybe Snapchat got it from Jericho. Anyway, night 2 of the draft is in the books now. We need a favor for our live family, especially those who are on YouTube chatting tonight. They're apparently going to do a few more draft picks during the show. So if you happen to see a couple of draft picks come in, supplemental picks, please let me know so I can update the thumbnail once the show is up. I'm sure I'll do my research. So let me tell you all something. If you think it's that easy to not only keep filling out the draft results live in real time, but when I originally thought that there was only going to be 4 rounds, and it turned into like 6, and then I had to keep adding columns, and then I had to keep shifting and resizing pictures. I just wanted to keep it updated. But before we even discuss Raw tonight, before we even discuss night 2 of the draft, we'll see how we were in our predictions as far as who was going to be jumping ship. This was the eligible roster tonight for the draft. And the reason why I'm showing this is because of a couple of things. If I am correct, isn't that in the top right-hand corner Ridge Holland? Or am I wrong here? I could swear in the top right-hand corner next to Ricochet is Ridge Holland. Isn't that Ridge? Yeah. So why? Yeah. I don't know why everybody was a little bit surprised there. Xia Li, I don't know why so many people were surprised. You and I have been saying Xia Li for about 3 weeks now that all the dark matches were leading to a main roster debut. But if you look at this picture closely, there's not too many names on here that haven't been drafted yet. So don't expect any bombshells. You know, we'll probably hear about Veer and Shanky and Jinder Mahal, and who else is on here? I don't think the Dirty Dogs, the Dirty Balls, got drafted yet.
Yeah,
but
Kross wasn't drafted, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to be drafted. I'm looking on here.
Elias wasn't drafted, right?
Yeah, so. I mean, the Miz is on here. You know, the Miz, I'm a little bit surprised. They should have just put him as a draft pick. Oh, Liv Morgan. They never said anything about... I'll tell you, I'm a little surprised at that. Wait a minute. Liv Morgan. Wasn't Liv drafted the other day?
On Friday?
I could have sworn. I know Aaliyah was.
I think she was, actually. Hold on.
Yeah, you know what? I have my graphic from Saturday. Let me see. Saturday, where are you Saturday? Here you are. Here you are. Wait, that's the small. Oh, here it is. All right, this was Saturday, and Saturday had no Liv Morgan. Wow.
No.
Well, I was talking Saturday that I think Liv Morgan and Aaliyah should form a tag team. They're best friends or very, very tight friends. And I just don't see Liv Morgan breaking through the singles title hunt anytime soon. So I think her path to championship is with a tag team partner. And I think Aaliyah fits that bill beautifully. I tell you, what do you want to get into first? Want to get into the draft, or you want to talk about Raw itself?
I mean, we can go either way with this because, there's a lot of, I think, flack and feedback from a lot of fans, not just myself included, on how this entire draft was handled.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious now that it's pretty much done with the exception of Raw Talk. Not necessarily the picks, but how do you feel about the way everything took place?
My overall reaction to this draft, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but if any of you out there have not heard my Saturday show reviewing night one of the draft, obviously we knew who was still available going into Raw today, but I think literally every person that I said was going to be moving on Saturday ended up moving. As we discussed in detail, the freaking Street Profits have moved to Raw. The freaking Viking Raiders have moved to SmackDown. Shayna Baszler has moved to SmackDown. Karrion and Garza was moved to SmackDown, even though I was hoping that maybe Zelina Vega could manage them on Raw since Zelina was drafted to Raw. But no, Zelina is going to be utilized in a different way. But my overall immediate reaction is the USA Network deal with the WWE must be coming up sooner than we think. Because SmackDown is all about Roman Reigns. It's all about the Usos. It's all about Charlotte Flair. It's all about Sasha Banks. Honestly, on a Friday, 2-hour show, that's who the fans are mostly wanting to see. So anybody else you add to it is going to be secondary. To me, you would have thought Raw had the $1 billion TV deal going into, after this draft is over, going into the night after Crown Jewel. No. Do I think Raw should get a $1 billion deal? No. My point is, if you really look at Raw's roster now, say what you want about the overall show tonight being quite average at best, but when you look at that new roster for Raw, number one, it feels like they're really jacking it up for upcoming negotiations with the USA Network. And my second reaction is, and this is something, that I've said before, when Thunderdome was forced to be instituted, and they did the draft, it felt like some people were moved over to Fox because of the extent of the TV deal, how much it was worth, but also because Thunderdome, you didn't have live fans there other than the TV screens. Now, since we're way past that and we're back to live crowds, people need to understand something. And this is something you're not going to hear on other shows out there. I guarantee you're not going to hear this, and I think Mish will agree with me 100%. Thunderdome had 500 video screens. Didn't matter if it was Raw. Didn't matter if it was SmackDown. Didn't matter if it was NXT. NXT may be a little bit smaller because of the Capitol Wrestling Center. Now you have Raw, 10,000-seat buildings. You can't get away with just Thunderdome LED screens anymore. Because when people are sitting in the privacy of their own home, and I did Thunderdome a dozen times, it didn't matter what was on TV. I was in Thunderdome just to have fun. Now you got to convince fans to pay 10,000 seat arenas 8,000 seat arenas, 20,000 seat arenas. You can't do super shows for Raws and SmackDowns. You could only do that for non-televised events right now and pay-per-views. So they really jacked up this roster because they need to sell tickets. The more tickets they sell, the more, obviously, money they could recoup for all of the lost revenue from COVID. And I know people are going to say they had record profits. It doesn't matter. They lost a lot of revenue. You know, they were very creative and were able to shift it around in other areas, but that doesn't last forever. So that's my reaction of this draft overall. It was designed because fans are going to go to SmackDown and watch SmackDown based on the names that I said. So they need to build up and spice up that Raw roster a little bit more for the TV, for the ratings, and for ticket sales. Where do you think I'm wrong?
It's not that I think you're wrong. My question had nothing to do with the potential. Believe it or not, my question had nothing to do with the actual superstars being drafted, but more about the draft itself. There's a lot of holes in the draft this year. I know there was last year. The one that everybody keeps throwing out from last year was they switched the Raw and Tag Team Champions, and they just toss each other their belts. And I understand that that was a goof and everything else like that. But this year, I don't know. I don't like the idea that people on the brand get drafted back to the brand. Doesn't make sense to me. Feels like drafting should be a pick and choose, like a trading kind of deal, as opposed to securing someone's position on their respective brand. I didn't like that. And I know they eventually fixed it as of tonight. I was not a fan of Charlotte and Becky both being on SmackDown with the both titles. I never liked the idea of champions being drafted, especially if they're a brand champion. Just seems kind of weird to me. Just my own little nitpicks on this. But overall, this show felt so lackluster. Look, I'm sorry. Sonya and Adam are fine at people like them, I guess. But not one McMahon appearance. Not a Triple H appearance, obviously for other reasons, but not even a Shane, not a Stephanie, not a Vince walkout. I don't know, man. I know we're all supposed to be geeked out about the draft and stuff like that, and I was looking forward to it. And it just felt like for everything that's been coming undone for WWE and how much they need to drive more storylines and more creativity, they dropped the fucking ball with the potential that the draft has. I mean, even the call-ups seemed like just secondary news. I remember when they would call people up from NXT and they'd come out and they'd be cheering. They'd be happy as shit, like, holy fuck, I made it. I'm sorry. Friday to Monday, this isn't a good draft, in my opinion. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. As far as the incidentals, I agree with you with that. You know, them just saying, oh, the Fox War Room, the USA Network, Philip Maffey. Do we think it's possible they're stacking the Raw roster to boost the ratings? Rewind what I said about 5 minutes ago. I think it's for TV deal, for ratings, for ticket sales, because, like I said, SmackDown, they got their made talents. You know, I was getting a kick out of so many people tonight saying, why couldn't they just have Charlotte lose? Why do they have to do the DQ?
Yeah.
Why? To appease you?
Right.
Charlotte is the number one female in that company, period. And even if WWE said, okay, and they make Bianca win, no, I'm not saying to you all tuning in, but for the noise out there that does that, you think if WWE would have gave Bianca the win tonight, you think they would have turned around and say, you know, Raw wasn't that great, but you know what? At least they gave Bianca a big win over Charlotte. No, they're going to say Raw sucked. Raw blew. Is it Wednesday? Is it Friday? Is it this? You know, they're not going to do it to appease the whiners out there. Right. You know, they're going to do it because they have stock in this talent. Charlotte is the number one female in their company, and they are going to protect her at all costs. Bianca is not at that level yet. Only time will do that. But the fans are organically increasing their fandom for Bianca. I mean, people need to remember, before SummerSlam, a lot of people were like, oh, Bianca's whole title reign has been blah. The whole thing, and a lot of it was WWE's fault. But a lot of people were complaining, saying, this isn't the Bianca from NXT. This is not the EST.
Don't you think that there's a point in time, especially now, where the company should be paying attention to some of the gripes of the majority instead of the minority?
Yes.
When the majority of people are griping about something, it just feels like sometimes they overlook it.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing going into this draft was most people didn't want what happened at last year's draft to happen at this year's draft. Well, it didn't. It was worse. It was much, much worse. And I understand. I see people in the chat like, oh, that's stupid. This was a fantastic draft, Mish. You're silly. Look, I'm glad and grateful that you guys enjoyed the draft. I really do. But as far as my own personal enjoyment, my own opinion on it, I think it was very lazy. It was very lackluster for such a pivotal moment for WWE fans. This is a show, a must-watch show for Raw and SmackDown fans. So why is it so lackluster and bland and just they come out, oh, and drafted to Raw is Seth Rollins. And drafted to SmackDown is, it was the most lackluster piece of shit. I don't know, man. Look,
no, I hear what you're saying. I
understand that you're looking at this and you're looking at this objectively because you're like, oh, this is great moves. This was a great draft because look how much money WWE is going to make. And you're right. WWE is going to make a lot of money. They're going to make money with USA doing this. They're going to make money with Fox doing this. Strategically, the moves were smart. But overall, for a show that's supposed to be just as important as WrestleMania, it wasn't. It's supposed to be. It has as many, if not more, changes to the roster than WrestleMania can or does. It just, I don't know, man.
I got a question for you because I was just thinking about this. I don't know why this came to my mind, but we had Kevin Owens make an appearance on Raw tonight. He's drafted to Raw, and he gets interrupted by Akira Tozawa. Did Tozawa get drafted? I don't think so.
No, he did.
I don't think so. I don't know. I had Tozawa on the brain for some reason. So shout out to Jerry the King Lawler.
What?
No, people don't know why. Remember Jerry Lawler's controversy? Didn't he bring up like ramen noodles with Tozawa or something? So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
Anyway. Oh, thank you, everybody. They're starting to come in. Some of you don't bullshit. Somebody sent me a dozen of the WCW Nitro colognes. So next, I'll send you one if you want. I'm going to open it up live Thursday. I'm going to have my fiance here. I'm going to open it and she's going to smell it and be honest and tell me if it smells sexy or if my chances of getting any is, let's put it this way. I think Johnny Grunge probably smelled better than some of this cologne.
Really
also, somebody sent me this and I knew it was on its way. So I came prepared. This is a Hulk Hogan camera. I don't know if you can hear that. It actually works.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, look. It works. So I actually, believe it or not, Mish, they have companies that still make 110 film. Tomorrow, when I go to the parents' house by the beach, I'm going to take the 110 film and I'm going to load it in this camera and I'm going to take a whole bunch of pictures. What makes this camera so cool is this Hulk Hogan logo. Yeah. Apparently all the pictures have the Hulk Hogan logo stamped in the corner automatically. Really? So yeah, I'm going to take the pictures. There's companies out there that still develop 110 film and we'll see if this thing works. Also, it arrived. I wanted to use it tonight, but we got to talk about the draft. We got to talk about Raw and take calls, so no time for fun tonight. But, Mish, I got a question for you. Sure. If you could right now, where would you want to get off? Where would you get off? Right now, if you could, where would you get off? If I said to you,
I don't even know if this is PG, bro.
well, here's this thing that I got. It is a wall talker, and check it out. Undertaker will tell you where to get off.
Oh, well.
Look at the top. It's
Yeah,
not
I
a
see
joke. Undertaker actually tells you where to get off. Who the hell in 1997 thinks that that's a good set? Could you imagine in Connecticut with Vince McMahon and somebody says, oh, let's make this talking Undertaker. He's going to tell kids 6 years and up where to get off. I don't get that at all. But let me tell you something. I am really, really, Raphael, man. I looked online and I saw one of these sold for $500. And I honestly don't know if I want to open this. Tell me if any of you ever saw this thing before. It is internet active Steve Austin. You go to WWFwired.com and you actually download clips and it goes into this Steve Austin doll and it actually talks and it does like some wild shit. It's brand new. So I don't even know if we could even activate this. Kid you not.
No.
It's pretty cool.
No.
It's for Windows 95 and Windows 98. That's your system requirements. So for all you, check this out. For all you internet geeks out there, if you play it back and you hit the pause button, look at those system requirements. But I'm going to read the system requirements to you. All right? 14.4K modem.
Oh, Jesus.
Not even 56K, 14.4 modem. Oh, God bless all you young people out there that never dealt with modem. Just imagine in 1996, 1997, you wanted to get off, but you only have 14.4K modem. It would literally take about 75 seconds to download a half of a picture of a naked girl. Windows 95 and Windows 98, you need a sound card. You need internet access, Internet Explorer 3.0 or Netscape 3.0. You got that. And Thursday, it is still sealed. We will make an energy drink with the Hulk Hogan Thunder Mixer. So
when you get in the web TV?
Man, people are sending me so much stuff, man. It's pretty cool. I don't know. It's not wrestling, but you all saw this last week. But Mish, somebody sent me Vanilla Ice gum. It's actually supposed to be a cassette tape.
Right.
It's Vanilla Ice gum. So,
nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to eat Vanilla Ice or gum. You know. Then we got Constipated Sting. He's like, oh, I got to team up with Darby Allin. The fuck is this? Come on, I'm a Hall of Famer. Look at this. And then tonight, I'm going to kill Lashley. It's at Saudi Arabia. If Saudi Arabia doesn't kill us first. Anyway, that's the latest toys that came in. There's a couple of boxes inside I haven't opened yet, but we will have fun. So anyway, let's get into the draft at first. Now,
all right.
I want to add one thing that you said before. How lackluster tonight felt putting the draft aside, and you had the entire roster there. Something to think about. We had the entire roster there. Not all, because Roman Reigns wasn't there in a few, but we had many more people there than usual, and still, it felt like something was seriously lacking tonight. But originally, we made predictions. Now, for everyone out there that did not see our original predictions, here's a couple of guidelines. Number one, at the time, 2 weeks ago, we had no idea if NXT was going to be involved with this. We talked about Xia Li and Austin Theory going to the main roster and possibly Aaliyah. Had no idea about Ridge Holland, and we will talk about Mr. Gable, and we don't meet Chad in a few minutes. So we didn't include NXT. The second thing is we did not include anybody that we thought was going to stay on the same brand. Our predictions were strictly wrestlers who were going to switch to the opposite brand.
Actual drafts. That's what we were
Yes,
predicting.
actual drafts. We did not include who we thought was going to stay, because if that was the case, we would have chose Roman Reigns for SmackDown, Big E for Raw, and whoever else. But this was originally who we thought was going to be switching brands. This was mine, and that was yours.
Yep.
So let's break this down. Now, chat room, did we get any draft picks in Raw Talk? Because Raw Talk's got to be on the air right now for about 20 minutes. Any draft picks come in at all? I'm curious. I don't see anybody writing any draft picks. You don't have to super chat it. I'm just curious if anybody sees anything. But let's go through your list first. Now, Eva Marie, we still do not know. So Eva Marie, we leave alone. Nia Jax stood on Raw, so that one's no good. Asuka, it's a little unfair because Asuka was not on the draft pool tonight. Neither was Bayley, because they're both considered injured still.
Right.
You have Bobby Lashley going to SmackDown and MVP.
Yeah, that's all right though. I guess it can keep all four of them on Raw, so I'm okay with that.
Elias is still dead. Elias wasn't on that pool earlier. Are we concerned that Elias may actually be released?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's why I said, like, this entire draft has been incomplete, because even people before that weren't currently active were still on the draft.
Lib Morgan is drafted to Raw.
Okay.
That sucks, man. I wanted Liv Morgan and Aaliyah to be a tag team on SmackDown. I really thought they could use it on SmackDown, because you look at the SmackDown tag team division amongst the women, and it is god-awful right now. I mean, you really think about it. What do you got? You got Nia and Tamina, Shotzi and Nox, which is not bad, but and then what? We got more makeshift teams? That sucks, man. I mean, Liv probably would get more of an opportunity on Raw because it's a 3-hour show instead of a 2-hour show. But just think about it. They just drafted Liv, Carmella, and Zelina Vega to Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, and not everybody's been thrilled with that interaction between the three. So, all right. So the first supplemental tonight, we got Liv Morgan on Raw, which kind of sucks, but okay. So Elias, we still don't know. Jaxson Ryker, we still don't know. You thought Karrion Kross would go to SmackDown. That did not happen.
Don't know.
Did you get any right? Oh, you did. Your strong pick was right. And Kevin Owens.
Right. All of my people are off. They're not picked on the draft. None of them are on the draft. Eva Marie was on the draft. Nia wasn't drafted. Asuka's not on the draft.
Yeah, Nia's on Raw.
Oh, she was drafted to Raw?
She was drafted on Saturday for Raw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was the first in the supplemental pick. So all right, so you got your strong pick of Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, excuse me, and you got Kevin Owens.
Right.
Okay. I didn't do much better. Nia Jax, no good. Asuka, no good. Drew McIntyre was my strong pick, yes. Lashley MVP, no. Elias, we don't know. Sheamus to SmackDown,
Drew's
yes.
On Raw.
Huh?
Drew's on Raw now?
No, Drew's on SmackDown.
Okay, so he's just okay.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre got drafted to SmackDown.
Right.
Sheamus got drafted to SmackDown, which we told everyone. I mean, you knew SmackDown's not going to resist the Drew versus Sheamus match once in a while. Yeah. Carrion and Garza on SmackDown. I'm still holding out hope that they troll Naomi and they put her back on Raw. The Mysterios are on Raw, and Brock Lesnar's a free agent. So we didn't do all that good.
No,
we didn't do all that good. I think we might have overthought it.
Well,
so anyway, let's
that should
talk.
never be the case with a draft.
Yeah.
It should never be the case.
I know.
You should not be able to overthink a draft.
I know.
Drafts should be logical decisions based upon the continuity and storyline that's been presented over the last year. That did not happen.
Who is Titan Knox? Wogga, man. Wogga. I don't know. Oh, maybe he means Tegan Knox. Titan Knox. So, you know what? Once all the the supplementals come in, just post them all at once, everyone, because I think some people are. Yeah, Ledude is saying Naomi went undrafted, so I know a lot of these people didn't tune in on Friday. So, with all due respect. All right, so let's talk about SmackDown tonight, because SmackDown, obviously, the #1 show, the $1 billion TV deal with Fox. We already know the major players who the fans already are tuning in for. So tonight, who remains on SmackDown, The Usos, Sasha Banks, Nakamura, and Cesaro and Sami Zayn. So they were already on SmackDown. They're still on SmackDown. New additions, Sheamus, Shayna Baszler, Xia Li, the Viking Raiders, Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, and Ridge Holland. What's your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm a little lackluster at all these picks. I'm not excited about it, I'll be honest. There's nobody out of that list that I'm really, it doesn't feel like you're shaking things up. It feels like it's just being padded for one reason or another, DT. I mean, I don't know. Are you really that excited about this?
Well,
look, I'm not trying to be down on WWE. I'm pretty much, somebody who supports a lot of the decisions that they make. But I think that this overall last 4 days has been a damn car crash.
Yeah, it feels like, all right, we got to shift some people around.
Right.
We're just going to do it lazy. I would have been happy if Vince would have.
Is there any picks that you've seen that you are just absolutely ecstatic?
Yes.
Okay, who's your ecstatic pick?
Okay, I talked about this Saturday. I like Carrillo and Garza going to SmackDown. I think they could have a nice feud with the Usos. I think the New Day will help elevate them as well. They have some tag teams that they could really go toe-to-toe with. So I think Carrillo and Garza to SmackDown, I'm really liking that. I'm liking Shayna Baszler as well. Shayna Baszler, she remains my pick.
Yeah, but that's not a pick. She stayed where she was.
No, she was. She was on Raw. She's on Raw.
Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, she's going to SmackDown.
That's right. Yeah. She got picked tonight. You're right. She got picked tonight.
Yeah, so Shayna Baszler doing what she can do on SmackDown is going to be really interesting. And she remains, as of right now, she remains my pick for the Queen's crown.
She's a good pick.
Yeah, I like Shayna on SmackDown. Xia Li is a little bit of a wild card because I don't know how WWE is going to treat Xia Li. I like Xia Li a lot. I'm a little nervous how WWE uses them. And remember, we're not talking really much about the draft from Friday because I know, we already did some shows and you're going to do one with me tomorrow on Patreon, but Hit Row is on SmackDown, so that's going to be an interesting dynamic. And Ridge Holland, I'm really fascinated about because I think Ridge Holland, 6 months from now, I think Ridge Holland may be the guy that gets one of the biggest pushes of them all.
Really?
Yeah. So Brandon Jones wants to see Naomi versus Sasha in the future. I could see that happening, sure. But, if Naomi ends up being involved with the bloodline and Sasha remains a heel, I don't know if we're actually going to get that. But I don't see Naomi being a heel, though, because, you got Sasha who's a heel right now. Now you're bringing Charlotte on the brand, which is a heel. Shayna Baszler, I want her to be a babyface animal, but I don't know if WWE's going to go that route. So you look at single stars. Bianca's now on Raw. Yeah, Becky.
Well, Bianca being on Raw at least gives her a chance to redeem herself in a way.
Yes.
Yes.
Speaking of Raw, all right, remaining on Raw, Bobby Lashley, Damian Priest, AJ Styles and Omos, Karrion Kross, Alexa Bliss, and that's it from tonight. Right. The new additions to Raw, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, the Street Profits,
Finn
Balor, Carmella, and Gable Steveson. What do you think about?
What, somebody sees something there. I don't know. What do you see in Gable Steveson? I don't know what they're going to do with them.
You know, look, man. I think of Kurt Angle, and
I can see it.
Right, but even Kurt Angle went up in the developmentals for quite some time before he came up to the main roster. I mean, unless this guy is just nailing everything.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and he's obviously an Olympic athlete. You know, I mean, he does have the pedigree behind him. They really just kind of shuffled him out of nowhere, though. We didn't get a chance to see him build up. We didn't get I don't know. Isn't this kind of akin to bringing in a special guest? You know, I don't know.
I mean, I'm a little
on the kid's shoulders. That's what they did.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Yeah. You know, we got to understand something. I think we all agree on this. Forget his gold medals. Not forget it, but put aside his gold medals. Put aside his NCAA career. Put aside all of that. This is sports entertainment. Yeah. We have had in our lifetime, Brian Reagans and a few others who were, you know, maybe NCAA stars, Olympic stars. I don't care how many times Triple H points us to him or how many people like him on line. He's got to become a character. You know what I mean? He's got to become a character. That's the WWE mantra. So I'm intrigued by it. I'll take a wait and see approach. But, you know, we have had over the years some people who get drafted and they do very, very little with. So, you know, you would think that WWE would want him to go maybe do a little NXT. You know, I have a feeling he's going to be regulated to a lot of dark matches, to maybe some main event matches, maybe one move and out. You know, maybe he does a talking segment, squashes someone, one move, leaves. I'm very intrigued by that.
I don't feel bad about the guy. I just think that there's a lot more that you can do with him in order to prep him. It was kind of, I mean, I guess maybe it's the shock and awe factor. Maybe that's one of our big surprises from this draft, because you would expect somebody with this guy's pedigree to have vignettes, to have been introduced, to have come out maybe to like somebody else's challenge. Like there's a lot of ways to bring in a guy on this caliber, but I don't know. So
Seth Rollins, I'm fine with. Seeing Seth and Edge continue their feud a little bit more, I'm fine with that. Finn Balor, man, I felt it Friday, and I know I talked about it on Saturday's show. He takes a tumble, and there's like no redemption, no explanation. He just falls, and he's on Raw.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to some matches with AJ Styles, not just give us one for a special event, because I don't remember what the circumstances that time. There's some wrestlers on Raw, Riddle versus Finn Balor, I would definitely love to see. Who else? Kevin Owens. Yeah. Kevin Owens is good too. Joe Punches says moving Finn to Raw. Any hope there? Okay, any hope there? Would love to see a rekindle of Kross versus Finn. That's a good one too. Absolutely, man. And as far as Scarlett, give it until the draft kicks in. We should have an update very, very shortly. I know Kross. Yeah, Kross put a little, I don't want to say a teaser about Scarlett tonight, but you know, they're just trying to get through Saudi Arabia. Once Saudi Arabia is over with, that's when everything starts to kick in. That's really it. Street Profits, man. I talked about it Saturday. You know, when they put Hit Row on SmackDown, I said, I'm going to go into it with an open mind. You know, I personally don't know if they're ready or not, but this is a huge challenge for them, and let's hope they knock it out of the park. They had a great feud on NXT with Legado del Fantasma, but the one thing that it felt like is, and I said it Saturday, I said, I think the Street Profits will get moved to Raw, and we'll have Hit Row doing a lot of the old Street Profit stuff. And I said on Saturday, it's not about a black thing, because I said the Usos used to do it too, and others used to do it. But, the Street Profits going to Raw, now they're going to be doing what the New Day was doing. And what other, I don't know.
I don't know if I
agree
would say
with you.
New Day are their own thing. You said the Usos. No, Street Profits and Hit Row have a lot of similarities, a lot more so. And as other people pointed out, kind of like other former tag teams that have done that as well. So, yeah, if you had Street Profits and Hit Row on the same show, there would be a lot of crossover segments, if anything. I don't know if WWE wanted to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll wait and see. But, overall, like we said earlier, especially you, what a lazy way to do this draft.
Yes.
No format.
So smart, man. I mean, why couldn't they have brought any McMahon out there? Out of any of them. Why couldn't Stephanie come out there? Seriously. Why
I would have been fine.
Why couldn't they have picked up a veteran? Why not have Stone Cold come out there? We don't need him to wrestle. We just need him to read off draft results. Like, there's so much they could have done. And I'm not even talking about the physical draft itself. But, I mean, as far as the presentation, why couldn't they have Undertaker out there? Why could they have had a lot of other guys out? Why couldn't Mick Foley come back for a hot cup of coffee or Kurt Angle? Like, there's a lot of people that could have been out there as the special guest draft readers or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. As opposed to Sonya and Adam coming out there and just dry docking the whole damn thing. Just the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
no, not the Fox robot.
I would have been fine with Vince coming out there for 10 seconds. We're going to shake it up, and then walk right to the back. I would have been totally fine with that. We didn't even get that. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I would have been fine with Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce having a little friendly competition where Sonya drafts for SmackDown and Adam drafts for Raw, and let's see who could draft the better product. Shout out to Nero Faye. Glad that Michael's enjoying the Bray Wyatt, the figure. Shipped all the way to Israel. It made it. Thank God. The Fiend made it all the way to Israel. Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah, there's no brand loyalty. There's no brand authorities. So there's no hype. There's no challenge between the two. There's no reason for Raw or SmackDown to draft these people. Like, that's the perfect example. Why? What is the point of this draft? If it's not for the brands, and it's not for the fans, and it's not for the authority figures running Raw or SmackDown, who the fuck is this draft for? Fox and USA? I mean, is that what this draft was really all about? Yeah. Was Fox's draft versus USA's draft?
A lot of people forget that last year during Thunderdome, we had a lot of backstage segments with Adam Pearce and Vince McMahon. I mean, all we could have had was Vince makes the decisions and Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, announce who the picks are. And instead of saying that the Fox and USA Network war rooms are picking these people, say Vince shaking things up. Why overthink it?
Oh, and you know what? And people that sit there and go, but the draft is fake. I know wrestling is fake. Dude, it's the same thing that happens if you're watching a movie and they do something that you don't like in the end. You're not going to be like, well, the rest of the movie was good, but, you point it out.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. It was a very, very bad presentation for WWE.
Brandon Jones brings up, the Undertaker's retired. It wouldn't have made sense. I tell you why I think. Why? I'll tell you why I would have liked it. Yeah. I mean, tomorrow, this is going to debut on Netflix.
Oh, that's
Now,
right.
Escape the Undertaker. Now, you and I talked about this about a month and a half ago. This is the New Day showing up at Undertaker's house. It looks pretty cool. I think it only runs 30 minutes, though.
Right.
I think it's only a half an hour deal, but it's on Netflix starting tomorrow.
It's interactive too, right? It's like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Which, it's funny because Mish and I had this discussion on Patreon about 6 months ago. Does anybody remember when you were a kid, the books? Weren't you going to send me one of those books? Remember the books where...
I have it. I still have the
What's the name of the books?
It's called the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Choose Your Own Adventure books.
The one that you wanted that I picked up the second one because... So I found the original copy, which was the Cave of Time.
Yes.
And the original copy of the Cave of Time went for like $200 at the time. And I didn't have that at the time. So there was the paperback version that I picked up for, I think, like $15. I still have that. It's still sitting in a box. I'm just bad with shipping.
Those were so much fun when I was a kid. You read the book. If you want to choose this, you go to page 17. If you want to choose this, you go to page 22. And
they had a bunch of those. They had the Choose Your Own Adventure. They had the Zork books. People might remember Zork. That was a big thing. That was our fun before video games.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think even before Windows 95, they came out with some computer versions that, like a lot of text role playing. Like if you want to enter this door, you choose A or you choose here, and they brought it to computers. But if that's what this is, looks fun, man. I'm definitely going to tune in tomorrow and check it out. But 30 minutes?
Like you pointed out, this is a perfect reason to have Undertaker out there. Yeah. He's promoting his shit on Netflix.
Yeah.
Why not? They could have had him out there on Raw tonight. Maybe New Day come in there and go, ha, 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 like a little elbow to the sides, make a comment about the show coming out tomorrow. Like, dude, there's always a reason to have a special guest on WWE television. There's literally no reason that they can't bring somebody back and just shill for them. And for one of the more important shows in the entire company, they just dropped it.
Why does Undertaker look like he's wearing an Ultimate Warrior mask? You look at his cheekbones. Doesn't it look like he's wearing an Ultimate Warrior mask?
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know. It looks like it. I don't know if the way this looks on my end. So, by the way, my favorite still shot from tonight, Austin Theory.
Oh, yeah.
When Jeff Hardy lost his match against Damian Priest, and, he says that going to SmackDown might be his best opportunity to see a different side of Jeff Hardy. And then Austin Theory comes out. He reintroduces himself. A lot of people forget that he was on Raw last year. But Austin Theory talking about how he was a big fan of Jeff growing up and everything, and it would be his honor to take a selfie with Jeff Hardy. He takes a selfie in the middle of the ring, and then he lays him out. And because he's got his eyelids painted, he's doing selfies. Oh, man, I freaking laughed my ass off. I don't hide that I am a huge Austin Theory fan. I think this guy is going to be priceless on Raw, man.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
No, he's funny. He's got a good look about himself. I could see them doing a lot with him. But isn't it kind of funny that every time somebody gets debuted or called up, Jeff Hardy seems to be the guy everybody kicks the shit out of?
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Genesis brings up a good idea. Do we think that they would possibly pair Gable, Steveson, with Chad Gable and Otis? I don't know, man, because Chad and Otis are heels. I mean, I don't see Gable coming in as a heel. I could see, I see it already. I could see Chad Gable with a backstage segment with Steveson saying, hey, Gable. Just think, we team up, Gable. And then maybe Gable turns him down, and then Otis will have to be the one to be the sacrificial lamb for Gable Steveson. That's where I think it could happen. We get the backstage segment. Gable turns down Gable. Otis is constipated, and we get something with Otis and Gable.
Yeah.
It does sound like a law firm. Gable, and Otis. Attorneys at law. Gable, and Otis.
Cheatham and Howe. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah. Let's see. Brandon says Undertaker wants to spend time with his family. Sure, but he filmed the movie. I'm sure.
They're telling me he can't show up for 2 hours.
For one appearance. I understand. Brandon makes a whole lot of points. He's right.
Yeah.
But, I think Undertaker just does not want to reintroduce. You know what? I tell you the more and more why I think Brandon makes good points. Because you're not going to just have the lights go out for a second and then Undertaker is at the booth. The next draft pick. Like, they have to do the whole entrance with the music, with the thunder, with the lights.
He could come out as the biker. He could come out as the biker and everybody would still be happy.
I know.
I mean, he's made it very known that he's out of wrestling. He's been doing the Joe Rogan podcast. He did the what was it? The hot ones where he eats a bunch of hot sauce. Dude, he's broken his kayfabe. He's talked openly about his career and his history. He did the WWE special when they were looking back for the memorabilia stuff. I mean, he's been doing religious programs. Like, how much does he have to keep it in character? You know?
I agree.
Past this point.
I agree. And Benjamin, we're not done talking about Gable yet. Okay.
No.
He also brought up the idea of having Kurt Angle or Jason Jordan manage Gable Steveson. First of all, Jason Jordan is a producer. Jason Jordan being as a manager really makes zero sense at all. Kurt Angle doesn't seem like he is returning to WWE in any type of televised capacity. He's doing the podcasts. Somebody the other day was bitching and complaining. They wanted Kurt Angle. Mish, I don't want to disrespect the podcast because everybody starts somewhere, but there's a podcast out there. Kurt, we would love for you to be on our podcast. It would be an absolute honor. No problem. $3,500. Kurt Angle is not returning to TV in any capacity like that. Kurt Angle had the opportunity to manage others and turned it down. So, it's not a bad idea, but realistically, there's no reason whatsoever to have Jason Jordan out there as a manager. To reintroduce him to the fans where he can't even really get in the ring and work it all, like, what's the point? If you really think about it, it's a shame. It's a shame to say, but Jason Jordan, nobody as far as on camera wants to see Jason Jordan. So, yeah, $3,500 worth of milk. $3,500 worth of milk.
You know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
Mainstream radio wouldn't give that to Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And he knows that, DT. That's where the bullshit comes in. Kurt Angle's done regular radio. He knows better.
Right, but if you're going to go on some podcast that gets 30 viewers, you know what I mean? Like,
well, why in the hell would you think that they would have the? All right. Let me explain it to you. $1 million company, $1 million radio station wouldn't pay $3,500 for Kurt Angle.
No, but Kurt Angle would get tons of exposure off of it.
So you're looking, but it depends on if he's plugging anything.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. But, if Kurt Angle's going to show up on a podcast with 50 viewers, why is he going to waste his time? I mean, that might sound cold and everything, but...
just don't do it. Why even put it out there? Why even put somebody over the rack like that? Just to say, sorry, it's not big enough of a show for me. Sorry,
I don't know.
That.
I mean, maybe they just want to hurt their feelings. Or maybe Kurt Angle's like, look,
You don't think telling them to cough up $3,500 doesn't hurt their feelings?
I give him A for effort and B for
Kurt
balls.
Angle was trying to be a G. If Kurt Angle was trying to make a couple of bucks for his time, but he didn't want to fleece these kids, he would have said something like, "Hey, I'll do it for a couple $100." That would have been an A-OK response. 3,500? That's like, for these kids, it was probably 3 months' rent.
Some people, like I said, good for them for looking into it, but
sure.
Unfortunately in this day and age, it's very hard to lie about your numbers.
Well,
I mean,
I wouldn't say
not going to go there with people,
okay.
But it's cute to watch people claim they got thousands of people that tune in, and realistically they got 50. I will never. I could bring this up because the show doesn't exist anymore, but Mish is right here, witnessed it. When we broke away originally with the Minority Report, they were doing Roundtable Wrestling Radio. And they were bringing guests on, and they were telling the guests, oh, we get thousands of viewers, thousands of listeners, not viewers. And one time they had, I don't know if it was Diamond Dallas Page on or something, but they were using Winamp. I think it was Winamp. I don't remember the audio service, but you and I connected to their server. And they had 7 listeners. 4 of them were the host.
No. It's worse than that. They had Stone Cold Steve Austin on because he was promoting his movie. What was it, like the Ring or the Battlefield or the Battleground or something like that? They had him on in the middle of a movie plug, and they had like 6 people in their chat. That was it. 6 people listening. Yeah.
You think, seriously, for everyone out there, you think these Hall of Famers and these very important people want to go on a show that only has 10 people? 10, 20 years ago, you could BS and lie about your numbers. There's really no way to track it, but these days now, you could track it. It's pretty lame, but 3,500 for Kurt Angle, 3,500. Yeah. But just to finish up what I was saying, yes, Austin Theory, you are the fucking man. Jeff Hardy made me laugh my ass off. Him looking all unconscious and everything. That's pretty funny. Okay. Austin Theory, you are the man. So Damian Priest retains his United States title over Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy now goes to SmackDown. Shayna Baszler over Dana Brooke. And man, I was saying to myself, oh, fine. Oh, thank God. Thank God Shayna did it to Eva. She did it to Nia. She'll do it to Dana, and Dana will be off TV for quite some time. But no, before she could break Dana's arm, Doudrop feels bad. Why would Doudrop stop Dana or stop Shayna from Dana? I know it rhymes. What'd you think about that? I don't know. I just thought it was horrible.
I don't know. That was weird. And Shayna hit her in the back, and she barely registered it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wanted Shayna to take out Dana. Man, oh man, that was going to be nice. Shayna's just going down the list of people that need their ass kicked. And then Doudrop comes in there to defend her. It doesn't even make sense to me. Dana hasn't done anything for her. Why is she going to intervene? I don't know. There's something brewing there. I don't know what it's going to end up being as the end game, but
Doudrop had this look on her face tonight. Like if she was at a bar and there was a guy drinking next to her and he goes up to her and he's like, hey, baby. And he's scratching his nuts while he's talking to her. He's like, you want a drink? And she's looking at him like,
yeah.
That's how she looked at Shayna. Like maybe Shayna let one loose. Maybe Shayna farted. She had this look on her face like, ew. Ew. I didn't like the segment at all. I wanted Shayna to break them both in half. Yeah. But where does this go? Shayna goes to SmackDown in 2 weeks. So this is going to lead to a Raw match next week. We'll probably have some bullshit finish. And then Shayna goes to SmackDown shortly thereafter. Right. Now, we're going to take calls in a couple of minutes, everyone. We're going to keep it to the draft tonight. So your favorite pick, least favorite pick of the whole draft, sure. That maybe that's where we'll go tonight. Also, we'll mention briefly after a couple of the Raw matches we're going to get into now, the 2 tournaments coming up. Very big deal. because those tournaments, even though they haven't announced it yet, are going to lead to the finals taking place at Crown Jewel, which is very important because we're going to end up having more women perform in Saudi Arabia this year than ever before. So, Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza over Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, I think this is just to play catch up for Garza and Carrillo, since they really have not been on the main roster all that long recently.
Yeah.
I don't think Mansoor and Ali lose anything. Drew McIntyre and Big E. Now, you and I talked about it last week, that Drew versus Big E was likely going to be a match and at Crown Jewel if Big E was going to be going to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So that match is happening in Saudi Arabia. But before that, they got to do the usual, the champion and the challenger team up to see if they coexist. We get Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode come out there, and Dolph is giving us a recap minus something that you pointed out, but a little recap of his history with both guys. And what did you notice about Dolph's recap of history?
Well, they made it very clear that back in the day when Dolph and Big E were tagging together, there was absolutely no third person whatsoever. No third person to that group. It was just Dolph and Big E. I mean, don't you remember all those times?
Who was that person? I'm drawing a blank.
Dolph hugged Big E and Big E
Styles. No, the other AJ, the other white.
The other part of this.
The other white meat.
Why do you think they did that? Because now I brought up two scenarios to you, and you came up with one answer. So WWE either decided not to bring up AJ Lee because they don't want to talk about her, because her husband is on the other show, firing at WWE every chance he gets, talking about how horrible the company is every single chance he gets. Or do you think they didn't bring her up just because they didn't want to? Like it was just a happenstance to leave her off the screen.
I look at it similar to Moxley. When we saw like some history with the Shield recently, when they showed Roman and Seth, like they tried to, they would zoom in a little bit extra since you would only see Dean Ambrose's nose. Like you wouldn't see like his head, you would just see like 1/4 of it. But then there was moments that there was no way of escaping it, and they referenced it. AJ Lee, and I said this to you before we went live, there's no reason to hide her history. I think CM Punk has lightened up a little bit, but even if he was, let me put it this way, and it's different with Daniel Bryan because he's now wrestling in AEW, Bryan Danielson. But, I just don't know why eliminate or try to go out of your way of excluding her from that history. I mean, why? So, because websites are going to say, wife of AEW superstar on WWE TV tonight, for dumb clickbait stuff. I thought it was petty.
Yeah.
I thought it was petty. No reason why they couldn't have shown her with Big E and Dolph Ziggler.
I mean, maybe you can correct me on this, and maybe other people in the chat can correct me on this. I thought even though AJ Lee was considered one of the original, the real catalyst behind the women's evolution, didn't she kind of leave on good terms? I mean, she went to the end of her contract. She did everything that they made her do. She didn't rebunk, even though her husband had left already, which I remember even at the time when CM Punk was gone from the company, that a lot of us thought, well, when is AJ just going to up and leave? And she didn't. She stuck through it from what I recall.
Right.
So the fact that she left on good terms and they still decided to kind of negate her, I mean, I don't know. What is that all about?
I just thought it was petty on WWE's part. I brought this up last week. Sometimes they remove things and they do the opposite effect. And I brought up, for example, that battle rap between the Usos and the New Day that time when they brought up Xavier Woods' adult video history. And if WWE would have left that in there, in the replays online, people would have been like, oh, shit. And then they would have moved on. But the minute they removed that clip, everybody's like, oh, I got to see it. What did they say? Oh, I got to see it. So now by removing AJ Lee, going out of their way to remove it, now everybody's going to talk about it tonight like you and I are. And then people are going to talk about AJ Lee, where if it was shown tonight, people would have mentioned it in passing and then they would have moved on. I think WWE sometimes doesn't realize, or they don't care. They're too stubborn. Oh, look, if you remove her completely, everybody's going to talk about it. That's okay. That's okay. Remove her anyway. So that's the attitude that I think they have. It's petty and they do it anyway. And I think they do it also because they know it's going to piss off some people online. Could you wait? Oh, all the people online, all the haters, they're going to hate us for this. I can picture them having some giggles backstage over that.
Wow.
So, thank you very much, Eddie K. Some account by the name of Xylot Themes on Twitter posted the supplemental draft. Thank you. So as soon as I'm done with the show, I will update the page with the supplemental results. If anybody out there, shout out to Near, by the way, also, if anybody out there wants to post it in the chat section, you don't have to super chat it, but post them all together so we can just read them off and be done with it. Otherwise, I'll get into it later this week. I'm sure somebody's going to post it now. So we end up getting the Dirty Dogs taking on, well, everybody had a big tonight. Was it Big E and Big D versus DC and what was Robert? Big Rob? Big Rob, and DZ versus Big D and Big E. I had a big fucking headache with that.
Yeah.
Okay. SmackDown selected Jinder Mahal, Shanky, no Veer. Natalya and Shotzi Blackheart. Bish, they split. Natalya and Tamina, it seems. Did they? Yes, they did. Mish, Raw picked up Dana Brooke, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, Jaxson Ryker, Veer, Liv Morgan, Mia Yim, Tamina Snuka, Tegan Knox, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and The Miz. It's a lot. Your overall thoughts.
That's all right. Jesus. I'm glad that they split him up. Maybe they can actually do something with Tamina now.
Wow. SmackDown. Wait, so they split up Tegan Knox also. No. Tegan and Shotzi Blackheart. No more. Wow, they never got that. Well, you know what? They could get their tag title shot Friday. Could they? Yeah,
I don't know.
They could. They were entitled to a tag title shot. You know what? That would be something. If they say, look, we were number one contenders. We were entitled to a tag title shot. Before we go on a separate brands, let's have a match and let them beat Team Diarrhea. And that would be interesting. But WWE's not going to get that complex. Wow. No. I got to be honest with you. Out of all of this on the supplemental draft, couple of reactions right off the bat. First of all, the Hurt Business is still together, which is an awesome thing. I'm pissed off that Liv Morgan is now on Raw because the idea of her teaming up with Aaliyah is not happening. Maybe you could put Liv Morgan with Tegan Knox. As far as SmackDown, it's interesting that they left Veer off of Jinder and Shanky. Yeah, and so just think about this, guys. Mish and I just finished talking about how the women's tag team division is very, very lackluster, especially on SmackDown.
Yeah.
They just split up Natalya and Tamina, Tegan Knox and Shotzi Blackheart. We just half an hour ago were talking about how shitty, to say it bluntly, that women's tag team division is.
It's broken. They got to get rid of one of these titles. I mean, will WWE even consider retiring a title at this point or no?
No, never. Veer, man, Veer by himself, Jesus. What do you do with the guy? So, somebody said, One Fall says, "Ma'am, compete for the 24/7 title." Could he run that fast? That would be interesting. I want to see Reggie dive over Veer. Let's see if he could dive over somebody 7 feet tall.
The tall one. Shanky's the tall one, not Veer.
Isn't no? Veer is pretty tall too.
Is he pretty tall?
Yeah, Veer's pretty tall. Yeah,
what is Shanky? 7 foot.
I think
6'11",
so.
7 foot. Yeah,
I think so.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, no, Shanky is a little bit taller than Veer, but
no, he's not.
Yeah.
Oh, Shanky's taller than Veer. I'm sorry, I think that Veer was taller than Shanky.
Yeah, no, Shanky is taller than Veer. Oh, Jaxson Ryker on
7'1".
No,
Shanky
Elias.
Is
Elias is dead.
Veer. Yeah.
Shit. Wow. That sucks, man.
Oh, no, Veer is short.
I mean,
Veer is short, man. He's only 6'2". Shanky is
he?
7'1".
I'm taller than him.
Yeah, you're taller than
Holy
Veer.
shit. Wow. I did not realize he was that short.
Yeah.
Well, really, what do you do with him now?
6'2" isn't short by anybody's means, but
yeah,
WWE, that's pretty short.
I don't know. Man. I don't know what they're gonna do with Elias. I'm a little concerned. Oscar, look, when she returns,
nice. You know what you do with a guy like that? You turn him into a completely different gimmick. Completely just revitalize this guy. You know what? Like, it would be interesting if he would just, I don't know, get adopted by someone else, by maybe Mason T-Bar or something. Who knows? You know?
Yeah. I'm looking at that group. I don't know. I'm not liking it. And look, Miz and Morrison, they're not going to have their goddamn match.
Nope.
Unless if Miz gets eliminated from Dancing with the Stars, which I don't want to see him eliminated. I want to see him win the thing. But if he gets eliminated, maybe they could do a match in the next week or two. I don't know if that's going to be a crown jewel match, but man, how much would that suck that Miz and Morrison wouldn't even have a freaking match?
Oh, isn't that gross? That is horrible, dude.
Yeah, John. No, wait. No. I take it back. What? Morrison stays on Raw. Okay, so they could still have it. Yeah, I wanted to double check that. So good. No, they could still have it. You know what? Maybe they reform as a team.
Oh,
seriously.
So?
Yeah, I think WWE, they got to realize those two guys together, I mean, they like you have always said, they bounce off of each other so beautifully.
Very well. Yeah.
You know, Miz obviously could do it by himself, but he's better with Morrison. So let's just hope that maybe Morrison gives him a little receipt and then they make up.
Maybe.
Yeah, so Miz and Morrison, you know what? Now I feel better because that's still a possibility. We could hold out hope that Miz and Morrison can still reform. Rhea Ripley and Nikki A.S.H beat Tamina and Natalya. You know, obviously this was the going away present because Natalya and Tamina are now officially split as a tag team.
Right.
Xavier Woods and Kofi, this was their going away present. Given to them. They took on the Hurt Business, Shelton and Cedric, one more time. New Day gets the win. So now they're going to be off to SmackDown. And I tell you, Xavier Woods, King of the Ring.
Wow.
Because tonight he was yelling, you know, give me my crown, give me my crown, give me my crown. All right. For those that don't know, you know, I mentioned it briefly Saturday before we discussed the main event. WWE announced the return of King of the Ring, which, you know, you and I have had this conversation on the show months ago. But It's now official. King of the Ring is returning. And they're also doing the Queen of the Ring. It's called the Queen's Crown Tournament. Now, I know the logo is kind of small on here, but if you look at that Queen's Crown Tournament, the colors and the look, that's Saudi Arabia. That's Saudi Arabia. And we've been told for a while now that the finals will likely take place in Saudi Arabia as well. Now, Saudi Arabia is 2 weeks from this Thursday. Am I right? Yes, 2 weeks from this Thursday. So we only have 2 SmackDowns left before Crown Jewel. The tournament has to be completed by Crown Jewel if they could have the finals at Crown Jewel. So SmackDown begins Friday with the 2 tournaments. Do not be surprised if 3/4 of that show is just tournament matches. But the reason why I bring up Xavier Woods on this is, you know how the net is with momentum. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying that Xavier Woods is not deserving. But let's throw it out there. We call it like it is. Kofi Kingston, WWE champion, heavyweight champion. Big E, heavyweight champion. You don't feel like WWE has any intentions on giving a heavyweight championship title to Xavier Woods. Wow. So the backlash online is, since you're going to do your boy Xavier Woods wrong, and I'm just referencing New Day, by him being the only member without heavyweight championship, give him King of the Ring. That's the mindset of a lot of people online, to the point where Xavier Woods was trending on Twitter earlier. With all the social media companies crashing earlier, the fact that Xavier Woods was trending over some of them says a lot. What do you think about Xavier Woods winning King of the Ring?
I don't know. I mean, do we have a list of all the participants involved with King of the Ring yet?
Not yet. We will in a day or two. The brackets will be announced.
I don't know if I feel that I mean, it really depends on the opponents, but it just, I'm not in favor of it. I'm in favor of somebody. I mean, for King of the Ring, I've always looked at it more along the lines of younger talent to really win this in order to focus or showcase themselves. Xavier Woods has been around for a long time. And people saw stardom in Big E as being a heavyweight champion before Kofi even won it. I don't think I've ever seen people rally behind Xavier Woods. And do you really want to give him any type of recollection or accolade just because everybody else got one? I mean, the King of the Ring isn't a fucking participation trophy. So people that are like, well, you have to give it to him because you gave everybody else a belt, that's a horrible fucking reason. And if anything, it just makes the whole thing stink worse. I'd rather King of the Ring go to somebody that we're not expecting. Or somebody that there's a lot of blue chipper status in them, to where if they did win King of the Ring, it would be a surprise, a welcome surprise to people that enjoy this style of tournament wrestling.
You bring up a fabulous point, because you almost feel like WWE is damned if they do and damned if they don't. Because if they don't crown Xavier Woods King of the Ring, you're going to have this loud enough backlash online about it. But if you do crown Xavier Woods King of the Ring, you will also have this backlash online like, oh, they only gave it to him because, you know, everybody else in the New Day got something. So WWE is damned if they do and damned if they don't.
Here's the messed up thing too, DT. There are so many brand new talents, so many call-ups from NXT, so many younger guys that could really benefit from this. The fact that there's so many people that want Xavier Woods to get it because they just feel like he deserves something, it's really a defeatist attitude towards thinking.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of even thinking about who can actually graduate on to the big leagues, or who can actually surprise the audience by winning the King of the Ring, if everybody just expects Xavier to win it.
Yeah. Joe Punches says Omos. Omos is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. King Omos, that would be pretty interesting. Look.
Here's the list of the guys you have for as long as you're talking about new guys. Omos, Damian Priest, you've got Kross, you've got Bearcat Lee, you've got Commander Aziz, you've got somebody else in there too. So one of the other younger. Oh, you got Austin Theory now. You got who else came up? You got anybody from Hit Row, pretty much. You got 3 guys from Hit Row.
I got to see the brackets.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, I mean, if you before you even get to Xavier Woods, look how much new talent is out there to impress us.
See, look, if the brackets are set up a certain way, in fact, you know what? Give me Kofi versus Xavier in the tournament.
Yeah.
Seriously. Give me Kofi versus Xavier. Two teammates.
Mysterio.
Yeah, that's not bad. Look, I don't have any problem. I could see Dominic being put in just for this, sentimental reasons. But look, if Xavier Woods has improved substantially over the last couple of years, he definitely could win, and he's got enough talent and ability, to win it. But I want to see the brackets, and my biggest concern is this. And it's not necessarily a negative thing, but if anybody is a longtime listener or viewer of my shows, I've been saying this for about 2 or 3 years now. I always use the Godfather reference with Saudi Arabia and Mansoor. If anybody ever saw the original movie, The Godfather, there's that scene where Robert De Niro is working in that grocery store, very, very poor. His family has next to nothing. And what happens, Don Fanucci walks into the store and he's talking to the owner of the store. And it ends up that Don Fanucci told the owner of the store, give my nephew a job here. So as a result, Robert De Niro loses his job. So Robert De Niro ends up blowing Don Fanucci's brains out. Not just because of that. It was a couple of things. My point is, and I'm trying to be humorous about this, you picture Saudi Arabia. Oh, what if we give you the finals, the King of the Ring? We bring it back. And the Crown Prince, Don Fanucci, he's like, hey, who would look great in the crown right here in Saudi Arabia? Mansoor. Don Fanucci may insist that Mansoor wear the crown. Would not be surprised if Mansoor goes to the finals or Mansoor wins.
Another good one too.
King of the Ring.
Don't forget about Shanky and Veer, 2 more younger guys. Dude, the roster on both sides is full of so much younger talent. The fact that your social media outrage is based around Xavier Woods not getting his time to shine is garbage. It's absolute garbage. You're telling me that out of all of those people we just talked about, all of them, people would rather just someone hand Xavier Woods the crown?
I agree. Just like I wouldn't want it handed to Mansoor either. Let me see the brackets. But, and I'm not saying that Mansoor isn't worthy. I've been giving praise to Mansoor for a couple of months now. He's earned his stripes. Is he one of the top upper echelons? No. Still got plenty of time. But, there is a loud outcry for Xavier Woods to win this King of the Ring. So the tournament begins Friday. And remember, since Raw stars are going to be on here as well, you're going to see a couple of Raw stars appear, maybe not necessarily on SmackDown, or technically, yes, because they've been drafted to Raw, but the draft doesn't kick in until after Saudi Arabia. So you'll see some, finagling going on.
I just want to hear King Commander Aziz.
Yeah.
King Commander Aziz.
As far as the women's side, the Queen's Crown. My pick is Shayna Baszler. My pick is Shayna Baszler. I could picture her walking around wearing the Queen's crown. I try to knock that shit off my head. Who stands out? Who stands out? Because remember, Becky, Sasha, Bianca is taking place at Crown Jewel. So none of those three likely are going to be in this Queen's Crown tournament. Charlotte, oh my God. Could you imagine if they give Queen's Crown? It almost like, I mean, it obviously fits like a glove.
Yeah, but you know what?
She's the queen.
It would fit better if, because Charlotte already calls herself the queen, wouldn't it fit better if somebody else won and you had a queen versus queen match?
Dude, I would love to see a recreation of 1991 or 92. No, it was 91 when Ric Flair showed up in the WWF with the NWA title and they were pixelating it. I would love somebody else to win the Queen's tournament. And Charlotte says, I'm the real queen of WWE. And she walks around with her own crown and they pixelate it like they did with Ric Flair's NWA title. I would freaking love that. Oh, man, I would love that. Oh, they would recreate that. But, right now, Ric Flair, they really don't want to really focus too much on Ric Flair right now for obvious reasons. So, but I don't know. I mean, who is your pick to be the champ? I mean, the queen of the Queen's crown. Who's your pick to win it?
What's Asuka's status?
Technically, she's still injured.
Is it possible that we may get a surprise or two in the Queen tournament? Because I would not be against the idea of Asuka coming back and winning this thing out of nowhere. I would not be against an idea like that. And frankly, it would be a good way to reintroduce Asuka and get fans already behind her again. I mean, what does the majority have? Charlotte? Or what is it? Carmella? Does everybody want to see Queen Carmella? Because, that would suck ass. Who else could possibly be queen? I mean, they could do something cool and give it to like a Naomi out of nowhere or a Tamina, but what do you want? Queen Natty? Is that what we're looking for?
I know. Natty is just there now to help elevate some. You'll see like Shotzi get a win over Natty. Aaliyah will get a win over Natty. You'll see I don't know if they'll have Xia and Natty, but I think you'll definitely see a bunch of wrestlers get some singles wins over Natty. I don't think Natty is going to be a tag team wrestler again anytime soon. Roger Rubio, thank you very much, my friend. Everyone, smash that like button now. I will become Mr. Potato Head. Well, look, you got a friend amongst us. I miss playing that game. I haven't played that game in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I am the imposter. Woo! Okay. So let's see what happens. The brackets will be announced later this week. The main event tonight, we had Charlotte versus Bianca Belair. Becky, they did the repeat of SmackDown. She comes out. Now, at the beginning of the night, we should mention this. She comes out at the beginning, a lot of Becky chants. Obviously, look, you and I said this SummerSlam night. Becky Lynch was supposed to appear on Raw months ago, and she was going to feud with Charlotte. The problem is Sasha Banks took a hiatus, and they did not have an opponent for Bianca for SummerSlam. So they had to pull an audible, and Becky Lynch, not only instead of going to Raw, had to go to SmackDown, but Becky Lynch, if people remember what I did my impersonation of, like a baseball announcer. Now batting first, Sasha Banks, number 2, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch filled in for Sasha, not only as a viable champion, but as a heel. So now you're moving Becky back to Raw. And now, because Becky wasn't designed to be a monster heel on Raw originally, now they got to kind of tween it back. So earlier, She's getting a lot of cheers, feeding into the fans, not disrespecting them as much as she was on SmackDown. But then at the end of the night, she does a run-in. She lays out Sasha. She causes the DQ. And obviously that's done to set up Saudi Arabia. But but Becky Lynch going back, think about this. Becky Lynch goes back to SmackDown, for the next 2 weeks. Then she's on Raw. Do you think they're going to just switch the titles? Because I talked about that Saturday. We may end up getting the same shit as the Street Profits and the New Day, where they just swap titles, which doesn't make sense because Charlotte and Becky Lynch despise each other in storyline.
Right.
So I don't picture a backstage segment where they just say, yeah.
Well, especially not. You know what, though? I really don't think it's going to happen this time, especially since they hinted the fact of Becky 2 belts tonight. I think that there's definitely going to be an opportunity for Becky to win both titles. I think that they might do something like that. I don't know what the end game would be of that. I don't know if that merges the women's divisions together again, like if we're going to have a unification ceremony. But the idea of Becky 2 belts was brought out tonight, and Charlotte put the kibosh on it real fast, but it was brought up. So I don't think we're going to have a hot potato title like we did last time. But I definitely see some kind of a match where both of them are going for both belts.
This is my brutality. I don't know. I just feel like I'm Rhea Ripley in this one.
A little bit.
So I'm just having fun with it, everyone. We were just messing around earlier. Let's be honest. This Raw was nowhere near as good as it should have been. This draft overall felt uber lazy. On the bright side of it.
They're capable of so much better. I mean, me and you have talked tonight about like the failures of this entire draft, from how they presented it to the importance of the draft to, dude, do you remember when WWE.com would do the supplemental drafts over the week? Now, in this scenario, it would have been the weekend. But I remember when they did the supplemental drafts over the week, and you would sit there and it was like every 3 or 4 hours, they would throw out another draft pick, and you'd immediately jump online to Twitter or whatever else like that in order to try and follow along with who got drafted where. And these weren't drafts where you're drafting people to the same brand. This was the company switching people over back and forth. I mean, it's amazing how creative WWE used to be, and they've forgotten their own tricks. Yeah. This isn't like they stole these ideas from somebody else and said, hey, we're going to fuck it up. WWE can't even follow their own rules, DT. Their own damn rules.
Very, very lazy. The only consolation, and I think we all agree on this, is we're going to get some fresh matches. Finally.
Yes.
And I tell you, out of everybody, the one I'm probably more excited about is Finn Balor. Finn Balor, everybody talks about Kevin Owens leaving WWE in 4 months, and that could happen. Could. Not saying it can't. But I tell you, Finn Balor, I'm more concerned about than anything else because he went back to NXT, and that motherfucker couldn't even get past 550,000 or 600,000 viewers in NXT as their champion. I mean, then you bring him on SmackDown, and we finally get back the Demon after years and years and years wanting it.
Right.
Just to have the Demon turn into a klutz. Think about it. I don't care what the visual, he's laying on face down. Boom, 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 boom. He felt like a klutz. So now the Demon is no longer undefeated on the main roster. So now he brings him back to Raw. Like, to me at this point, like I'm looking forward to Riddle versus Finn Balor, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, maybe a little Randy Orton versus Finn Balor, which I wouldn't have any problem with. Morrison versus Finn Balor. So if you really think about it, there's enough matches that we may have never seen before, or maybe we've only seen once. Karrion Kross, as someone said earlier, versus Finn Balor. There's some combinations there that I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with. It just sucks that this could have been so much more creative and been done with a little bit more fun to it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like you tell your kid, oh, we're gonna give you a birthday party, 8-year-old kid. Friends could come over and have pizza and this and that, and you buy no balloons, and you have no music, no clown, no nothing. Yeah, and everybody's just sitting at the table, just looking at each other. No games, no pin the tail on a donkey. It's like you went through the motions to have the party, but you left all the fun factor out of it. That's what it felt like for me.
Damn it.
Dijakovic versus Balor. Keith Lee versus Balor.
There you go.
So it's quite a few match variations. We're only talking about like 2 people. So anyway, we're going to take calls for about 10, 15 minutes. And just like I said, please, I love having long conversations with a lot of you out there, but it's totally unfair for everybody else trying to call in. So if you want to call in tonight, let's keep it with the draft. We have 2 days now of draft. Who is your favorite pick, out of the whole draft, and who is your least favorite pick? Like, who do you think that WWE just taught? Because a lot of people feel removing a New Day, and to me, that's probably my least favorite one of them all. The New Day with Big E doesn't have to happen all the time, but there was no reason to move them to SmackDown. The New Day were just on SmackDown. That's what a lot of people seem to forget. The New Day were just on SmackDown. They weren't on Raw that long. I don't know. But anyway, I think we figured out the problems the other day with the phone line. So as you can see on the screen, hang on. Where's my phone number? Where's my toll-free number? Damn it. Did I accidentally close it? That's all right. 833-366-8686. You should all know that. Oh, here it is. There you go. 833-366-8686 or 225 Don Tony, which is 366-8669. Again, if you want to call in, hopefully this works because I've been having some really screwy settings on my phone. Saturday, I reset the whole phone and calls started coming in with no problem. So I'm going to take the Do Not Disturb off. Hopefully it works, and I think it is working. All right. Good evening. You're on. Who is this?
Hey, this is Rams fan.
Hey, Rams fan. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
Damn, I was hoping I missed here for this question, but he's on his little break, I think.
No, he's just.
I can ask you this question too.
I'm sorry, Rams fan.
I was going to ask, and this might not have to do with Raw, but when was the last time you really felt like you were really looking forward to watching wrestling on a certain night? Like you couldn't go home, like you had to go home right away. You couldn't miss it. Like, it was probably WWF, I imagine, the Attitude Era, or maybe it was the early 80s for you, or the late 80s. But I just want to know, when was the first time, or the last time, that you were really excited about wrestling? Because for me, it was Lucha Underground.
Okay. It really depends on how excited you mean. Like, if you're just talking about looking forward to something, dude, I was totally looking forward. Oh, I was totally looking forward to NXT 2.0. Like, I thought NXT 2.0 was going to be interesting. I thought there was a lot of buzz behind it.
I think I'm having phone issues.
No, we hear you. We got you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got you.
No, I didn't hear your response. I was just saying the last time I got really excited was Lucha Underground. When Lucha Underground was around.
Yeah.
Can you say, when was the last time you were really excited?
Yeah, Mish, go ahead.
Go ahead, DT.
All right. Well, Mish was saying NXT 2.0 brought that curiosity factor back in, which I agree with. It just hasn't been around long enough yet to really make it. See, because for me, look, I grew up in the Monday Night Wars, so every week I wanted to tune in. I was a diehard rabid ECW fan. I would be sleeping in the middle of the night, set my alarm for 2 a.m., watch ECW till 3 a.m., go back to sleep. Even if I recorded it, I had to watch it first run as it happened. The last time where I really, really wanted to tune in, like every week, not even because I do shows, but it's got to be, the late 2000s, 2008, 9, 10, maybe not even that late. I mean, once I was fine with them moving away from the Attitude Era when their roster was still extremely loaded, where Shawn Michaels was still doing a little bit, and Ric Flair was at the tail end of his career, but Kurt Angle, right before he left for TNA, it probably was like the mid to late 2000s. I mean, I look forward to watching wrestling every week. I mean, when Wednesday comes around, there's some Wednesdays where I'm like, if I didn't have to do a show, I probably would watch it tomorrow during the day. It's not must-see TV like it used to be. Pay-per-views, I still have that feeling. Even a pay-per-view that doesn't look all that great on paper, I still get excited enough that I expect the matches to deliver a lot better than anticipated. So I still feel that way with pay-per-views, but TV, it's been a very long time.
But DT, don't get me wrong, I get really excited for AEW. But just the last time, I truly was up on my TV and let's go. That was Lucha Underground for me when it was on El Rey Network, and that was such a dude. I wanted to be in that freaking crowd. I know that crowd probably caught a lot of flack because they probably came off as marks and stuff like that, but that seemed like a pretty freaking cool crowd to be around in the temple there in Lucha Underground.
See,
but
AEW,
I'm sorry for making it about Lucha.
Yeah, AEW would be more fun if they didn't make it so congested. And believe me, it's, somebody pointed out the other day, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Benjamin or Darren, they had 80 people on Wednesday, 80. And, you want to just sit back, relax, enjoy a show, not have to think about it too much, take it in, let it be easy. And sometimes you can have a night where there's just 10, 15 people on the show, and it's just smooth, fun show. And you don't have to put 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 people on it. It's just too much to take in. I mean, you have to think about every single person that's on it. I mean, that's back in the day, you would have, maybe 8 people take up half the show. So it's not what it used to be.
Yeah. And then, I guess last thing before I go, Mish, were you truly expecting you were truly expecting the draft to be different tonight? Really? I love you, Mish, but really? Really?
Why wouldn't I? I mean, let's be honest. It's not like I'm comparing the draft to another company's version of the draft. I'm just comparing the draft to their own version of the draft. It's not like I'm saying, oh man, I remember how great the draft was 15 years ago. Dude, I'm just comparing it to even 4 or 5 years ago. It's just amazing how much they don't even follow their own rules, their own precedent. It's like you would think that a company, just in general, any company works to become better than what they used to be. But in this scenario, it's like they gave us less and less as opposed to more and more. It's just the weirdest thing because nobody told WWE to do drafts. When drafts came in, there wasn't somebody at gunpoint with, that's saying, oh, well, you better have a Raw and SmackDown draft. And granted, the drafts have always been better some years and worse others. But it just seems like more and more now, especially the last couple of years, they're doing as little as they possibly can to get people involved in it. I don't know, man.
Makes
and
point.
I mean, especially when you start thinking about, and real quick, I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. I don't mean to talk over you, but I'm having phone issues.
All right.
And James Pascal's probably thank God. But no, I'll try to have a better call next week. You
All
guys
right.
take care. I'll
All
try
right,
to
you too. Be well.
The mission's response on the download.
Take care. Yeah, he was having some phone issues. But no, Mish, you bring up some very good points, I mean,
yeah, dude, it's not like I'm asking WWE to bring out fireworks and dancing girls and a star-studded cast of former wrestlers to introduce everybody. Dude, I'm not even talking about that. Just do what you did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Do what you did 3 years ago.
They could have done what they did the last month and a half. We're out of COVID, and it feels like, they've been on some momentum. This just felt lazy, like you said. You would have thought, with everything going on, they just had a killer show at the Garden. Extreme Rules, was what it was. it just feels like, all right, we got it out of the way. Now let's focus on, because again, a lot of people still don't realize this, but the amount of money they make for one Saudi Arabia event is more than AEW's TV deal for the whole year.
Yeah.
That's something people got to think about. So anyway, we'll open the phone lines again. Let me just take this off. Do not disturb. All right. 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669. And we are connected. You're on. Who's this?
Hey, Don Tony, it's JD in Pittsburgh.
Hey, JD, what's going on?
Not much. I gotta say, this draft absolutely sucked beyond words tonight. It was a joke. It was a freaking joke. First off, what was with Becky's goal? Then you had Carmella have cornrows. I mean, who in the blue hell was booking this bullshit tonight? Vince Russo? I mean, come on. This is the same bullshit we see every freaking week. Yeah, let's have Charlotte the twat, however. Let's have Becky say, I'm the man, I'm the man. I mean, I love Becky, don't get me wrong, but this whole show was like watching a bad episode of WCW Nitro 2000 tonight. I mean, seriously.
They tried to hide their laziness by, we're going to get a kick-ass main event just to have the women interfere and cause a DQ. And the next 2 weeks is to lead up to Saudi Arabia. Queen of the Ring,
Yep.
King of the Ring is for Saudi Arabia. They'll continue the King storyline afterwards, but, let's remember, Nakamura could very well end up keeping his crown, something everybody's going to think about too. But, tonight, it just, I disagree when a lot of people say many times, they're just throwing stuff on the wall. I don't think giving Big E the championship was throwing stuff on the wall. That's a pretty big decision. And whether they decided to do it on a Monday or a pay-per-view, that's WWE's prerogative. But tonight truly felt like, let's just throw shit on the wall and let's see if it's entertaining. And a lot of it wasn't.
Well, let me ask you, when do you think we're going to see Gable Steveson make his debut? There's some talk he could make it by the end of the year, early next year. What do you think?
Well, that's the thing. Like, WWE had him drafted to Raw today. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to debut in a week or two. He's Raw property, but, that's the thing that I think some people need to understand about Gable. Yes, we'll see a backstage segment or two, and maybe we'll see the Kevin Owens show, and he's brought out for an interview segment. Maybe he's interrupted by Miz or something like that. Hell, Miz could do Miz TV and bring him out, and then he lays out Miz. But I think, just like in real sports, sometimes you sign someone, and then you put him in the minor leagues or something like that. So I will not write off the fact that Gable may end up doing a little NXT. It may end up doing a little bit of, minor leagues work, but Raw drafted him because the future is tomorrow. So I could see that happening. I just, there's just no way that this guy would, unless he was training, learning this way before, he got signed with WWE. But, we'll wait and see. I think he'll appear before the end of the year.
Yeah. I'll get down on this real quick. Let me ask you real quick before I go. As far as NXT goes, we had Austin Theory and Shia Lee. And do you think there should have been more NXT people drafted? Like, say, maybe Johnny Gargano, possibly someone like that. Do you think they could have done more in drafting people from NXT? Because I was talking, they were looking at Imperium, Johnny Gargano, like I said. Tyler Bate was another name I had heard. I mean, were you disappointed that NXT wasn't featured more?
No, because the last thing you want to do is have NXT stars brought up and get squashed or lost in the shuffle. I think, Austin Theory, his character, it's not going to be about belts right now, but his character, I think, will do just fine. Xia Li, they might team her up. I mean, I think Xia Li may have even teamed up with Aaliyah a couple of times, so that could end up being a tag team. But no, I don't want to see NXT. Gargano's wife is pregnant. She's still a character. They're still doing the Dexter Lumis, Indy Hartwell stuff. So you're not going to take away from that. And especially since Dexter Lumis doesn't talk, so you need Gargano to do the skits and be the voice of everything. So, no, I don't think anybody, Mish, do you think anybody from NXT, anyone else should have been brought up?
Walter?
Oh, I think we lost him. Walter would have been phenomenal. There was some rumors tonight that Walter was going to be on the main roster, but I think that would have been freaking phenomenal. Tyler Bate.
Would have been fantastic.
Yeah, Tyler Bate's overseas. I didn't hear anything about Tyler Bate coming to the States and working full-time in the States. But that would have been pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, DT, Mish, this is Nir. How you doing?
Nir, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
All is good. Regarding the draft, my favorite pick has to be McIntyre because I think it was a must. This guy had to move to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Least favorite, I think Balor. He just came up. You know, he wasn't that on SmackDown. Regarding the Queen's Crown Tournament and the King of the Ring, I have two names for you that I think, and I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. I think they're going to be the winners. The first one, I think, is pretty obvious. It has to be Shayna. And the second one, I think it needs to be Kross, because can you imagine if he elevates it to like this kingpin persona? You know, this can really fit.
What do you think,
It
Mish?
could be. I mean, when you were talking about Balor, I kind of agree with you. It felt like he could have absolutely had some more feuds on SmackDown before he got transferred over. So him being one of your least favorite picks, I totally understand that. It almost felt like he wasn't even on SmackDown long enough to establish more than just a couple feuds before he was already now moved over to Raw. But I wonder if that's because of that horrible rope break finish where they just didn't want to explain it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. So
I agree. I like Shayna as the pick. I was whispering Liv Morgan might be another pick, but I almost feel like Shayna Baszler coming out with the crown is just a visual I'm picturing in my head. Other than Charlotte, Charlotte is pretty obvious, but I like Shayna as the pick. Kross is very interesting. I mean, since he's on Raw and Charlotte will be off Raw, if he's king, I could picture him bringing Scarlett back out as queen. I mean, that's possible. Wouldn't that be something if they announced Scarlett in the Queen's Crown tournament? Scarlett wins the Queen's Crown and Kross wins the King of the Ring?
it would be interesting.
That ain't gonna happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be pretty fascinating if it did.
I think it will piss off a lot of fans if Scarlett would come out of nowhere and win the tournament.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I really don't want to cause any controversy here. Shayna Baszler, right? This might be more better if I direct it towards Mish. Mish, Shayna Baszler's sexuality, what is it? Isn't it rumored that she's bi?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think she's bi.
I mean, I want to make this clear. I don't care what her sexuality is. I don't have any problem with anybody who is gay, straight, but this is something I'm bringing it up because it's something that everybody's got to think about. If the Queen's Crown Finals happens in Saudi Arabia, if anybody's sexuality is gay or bi,
she's openly bisexual.
Right. How would that be accepted in Saudi Arabia? It's a disgusting thing to say. I am not saying that. But let's be honest, here in the United States, here on TV, we hear about some horrible shit that still goes down in Saudi Arabia. And my thing is, for me, it's not an issue. And for 99.9% of you out there, it's not an issue too. But when you look at these, older men that still, look, didn't Lacey Evans get a bottle thrown at her or something? Somebody threw a water bottle. Not everybody there is turned the corner where they're accepting of everyone. You hear horror stories about the way gays are treated, in a lot of those areas of the world. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, will we possibly see people left in the States simply because of their sexuality? Again, I
don't think it's going to be an issue in Shayna's. Yeah.
I hope not.
Because they're not going to come and ask, hey, what is the sexual preference of this wrestler and this wrestler and this wrestler?
Right.
They're just gonna.
But some wrestlers also do not appear and not welcome there because of their religion.
Sure.
Look, again, on our shows we try to be as open as possible and look at everything. For me, like I said, I have zero issue. I could. I'm fine, and I want her to win it. But I'm very curious to see, going to Saudi Arabia, if we are going to see certain people, mysteriously not on the tour, and it makes you wonder. I'm going to be really curious about that. And again, the only reason why I even say that is because we still hear about shit that happens with mistreatment towards women and gays and others, in that area of the world.
Sure.
Just for the record,
guys, I gotta go.
All right.
It was great talking to you guys.
Much love, my friend. Be well.
Hey, just for your record, too, by the way, she's also sapiosexual and demisexual.
Yeah. So, look, I'm not trying to cause any controversy, but I'm just saying, like, look, I'll throw one out there. And you deserve all the credit for it. In fact, this female actually even thanked you for your words as well. Wasn't too long ago that another female in WWE made a controversial appearance there. Why don't you share with everybody who I'm talking about?
Oh, you're just talking about old Lana there. Back when Lana went to Crown Jewel with the Saudi Arabia tour, she was told not to wear revealing outfits, told not to dress feminine. And if you recall what she was wearing, wasn't it like a very, very skin showy clothing that she came down to the ring with? And I told her it took some girl balls.
Right.
Absolutely,
and not only
took
that,
girl balls. Yeah.
The storyline was with Bobby Lashley too.
Right.
So that aspect of it also.
Right. The desecration of marriage and everything else like that. No, absolutely. I mean, but you figure at the same time, and I understand where you're coming from, and at the same time, these are people, but it's a story they're presenting. I think even in Saudi Arabia, they understand that this is not real life that's happening. These are not real insults to these people. This is a storyline that's happening in a show that they are attending. It would almost be, and of course people get outraged at some things. They can get outraged at a movie. They can get outraged at a TV show. We see it happen here in the States all the time. But I would like to think that the people over there in Saudi Arabia have an understanding that all the people that are doing this are doing a performance.
Yeah. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Brandon.
What's going on?
Oh, going good.
Good. So what's on your mind about the draft?
My favorite is Charlotte Flair.
Who?
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and my least favorite one is Balor.
Balor. Yeah. Mish, what do you think about Charlotte going to SmackDown? I mean, you and I think, are on the same page with this.
I like Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte Flair is a fantastic choice. I mean, she is one of the best wrestlers in WWE. I mean, the fact that she's making the move, I think it's a good idea to put Charlotte Flair up against other women that, could frankly use the boost from even having a match with somebody like Charlotte Flair. So I don't know, dude. I don't know where your thoughts are with this, but I'm totally positive on the idea of Charlotte Flair going over. So
yeah, me too. Fox, all the reports that Fox wanted her on the show. Why not? She's the number one woman in that company. She's not, she's not skipped a beat. She's the current champion. She is great on the mic. Mish has brought it up too. You look at the quarter-hour ratings when she's on, she gets numbers. The fans in the crowd are always energetic, whether they like her or dislike her. And Charlotte Flair, what we got to hope for when she goes to SmackDown is maybe she helps elevate. I would not be surprised if you see Charlotte have a couple of surprise losses to some of the women that are coming up. I could picture her cutting a promo on Aaliyah, cutting promos on some of the younger talents there, and maybe someone pulling out a surprise win here and there. Problem is she's the champion, so you got to be really careful how you do that. Yeah. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks.
Look, Balor, we got another person who disagree, thinks Balor, not the greatest of choice. I'm just trying to look at the fantasy matches that we could see with Balor. I think that there's enough talent on Raw that could keep Balor busy for a little while. I just don't want Balor to be used like Jeff Hardy. Like, Finn Balor is still tremendously over with the crowd, but it just does not feel like Finn Balor's got any momentum. And this guy would be main eventing any other wrestling company out there.
Oh, yeah. By miles.
I put him above Adam Cole. I put him above... I wouldn't put him above Kenny Omega, but I put him close up there.
Oh, I put him over Kenny Omega in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put him right up there with CM Punk. CM Punk's a little past his prime, obviously, which is fine. Bryan Danielson, could still go, but Finn Balor is in that upper echelon. And for him to be used the way he does, I mean, man. I hope they use him the right way. So anyway, we're going to take maybe one or two more quick calls and call it for a night. And so here's your last chance if you want to call in, 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669. Don't forget, tomorrow, Mish and I will be on Patreon. We go live at 10 o'clock. And you know what? Since we're doing this now, I could give a little shout out to our VIPers and Hall of Famers. Yes, we now have Hall of Famers and VIPers. I know some people will be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it would help if come on, let's see the names. How come the names are not coming up? Hold on. There we go. Are these right? This doesn't look like the right list. Yeah, I don't think this is the right list. Yeah, that's not the right list. Shit, what did I do with the list? Oh, here it is. This is probably the list. There we go. Shout out to our VIPers, our associate producers, and some names that are not normally on the list, but we now have them as our Hall of Famers. They have been with us for quite some time. So much love to our family on Patreon. Always got to show them love. Sometimes, I'm forgetful, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But tomorrow we'll be on Patreon, 10:05 p.m. If you want to check out the page, it's patreon.com/Don Tony. Mish and I will be doing a show tomorrow night. We'll also continue the tournament for the Jim Johnston wrestling themes. So I'm going to take this Do Not Disturb off. We'll take one or two more calls, and then we out of here. So let us know who just made the list. Well, you got to rewind it. So I just realized that I had the old list on here too. So my apologies for teasing some names. Yeah, this Do Not Disturb thing now looks frozen. I don't know if people were having problems before. Because remember, everybody, it wasn't just Instagram and Facebook that was down. WhatsApp was down. Google Hangouts was down. There was a few places that were down, and I use Google Hangouts, but I think we just got through, though. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, what's going on?
All right. But I didn't get to watch the whole draft. I was going to ask what happened with Dakota Kai? She didn't get drafted at all?
Dakota Kai was on the supplemental, and Dakota Kai, I believe, was drafted to Raw.
Okay. That's good to hear.
So they already split up Dakota Kai. No, wait a minute. That's Tegan Knox. Mish, Dakota Kai is not
Tegan
on the
Knox.
draft.
No, I didn't see Dakota Kai at all.
Yeah, Dakota
Tegan
Kai
Knox
was
is
not on this list. No.
Right.
Okay. What do you think they're going to do with the women's championship? Like they're like, you got the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw and the Raw. You think they're going to both lose the belt eventually? And then, what do you think they're going to?
Yeah. I mean, I think the easiest way to do it is to just have, Charlotte drop the title before, Saudi Arabia. The problem is, like we were saying it earlier, Becky and Charlotte can't stand each other. And, we're not going to see the Street Profits in the New Day just giving each other titles unless they do something dopey with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. And Sonya Deville tells Becky and Charlotte, give each other their titles and do the same thing they did last year with the Street Profits and the New Day. That could very well happen.
I was just thinking of that. Like they're already, in other words, they're just going to swap titles and they're going to be on their show.
Yeah.
You would have thought tonight Charlotte maybe would have lost the belt in the match, but I guess
you see, here's the thing. Charlotte could lose the title in the next week or two and win it right back. It's just because she loses. I mean, she has it how many times already? So she loses it a lot. So I think at Crown Jewel, if they're going to try to resolve this belt situation, the problem is Becky Lynch is defending her championship against Bianca and Sasha. The only wrestler that's going to remain on SmackDown after Crown Jewel is Sasha. So if we go with the idea that the belts are not going to just be swapped, then that means that Sasha should be the one winning the championship off of Becky at Crown Jewel. So then that means sometime between now and Crown Jewel, Charlotte needs to lose her championship. And she's got to lose it to somebody who is currently on SmackDown that's been drafted to Raw. And the only person that comes up is Bianca Belair. The problem is,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, they reintroduced Becky 2 belts. Right. So if Becky wins both belts, Becky could be on both brands, and I don't think that's happening. So
yeah, they could do that as well. Like they'll be like repeating what they did before.
I hope they're not that lazy, man. I mean, we could end up with Bianca as champion and Sasha as champion.
Right. And years ago, I used to have back in the days, remember the wrestling hotlines?
Sure.
Used to have that. Yeah, I guess what happened with those? They got rid of them. I guess they were.
I could have kept it. Believe it or not, about 5 years ago, I tried to get 303-4444 back. And I thought about putting, like reports back on there, but I mean, it's just nobody calls really hotlines much anymore. I know there's still a couple.
More people are doing it like the way you're doing it through YouTube. There's other people doing it as well.
It's better. The audio quality is better. When you do the video, you can have a little bit of visual fun with it, and you get to see a little bit of a different side of someone. And, it keeps it a little bit fresh too, especially like when we show like pictures of drafts, and putting results on the screen, or even if we want to, get a little goofy with something. But, no question, I freaking love doing the hotlines. I miss it.
Yeah.
But technology advances, but, those were fun times.
You used to have a lot of wrestlers. I think you used to have different wrestlers on your stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear too. I was listening to your show there a few weeks back with Daphne. I was sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw. Matter of fact, I forgot who it was on YouTube. I was on Twitter. I forgot her name. I think she wrestles out of Canada, and I think she was friends with her. Do you know what I'm talking about? A woman wrestler that's been wrestling for a long time.
From Canada. I don't know who you're talking about.
I can't remember her name. I can't remember. She's an independent. I saw she tweeted something about, because people didn't have her contact. And I did my own research. I found a number, but obviously with Twitter, you're not going to post that. So I sent her a private message, but unfortunately, it's a shame what happened. And, it's sad, and let her rest in peace. I'm sorry to, hear this.
Oh, sure.
A lot of times a lot of people don't know what people are going through. And it's just, sometimes it's like, even if you try to help, it's just, sometimes it's like, at the time when unfortunately, you don't know what they're going through. And it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
But just remember, the good times and the memories you had with it. And that's all you can basically do right now. But
absolutely. I think some of those people want to be remembered for the happy times,
Right.
And, without a doubt. I mean, I
remember years ago meeting wrestlers, and he unfortunately is no longer with us. Renegade from WCW. I remember going to a video store and getting a picture with him, and I remember Mike Graham seeing him at a show. So a lot of these, the guys that you meet are no longer with us. So
you never know what's going on in someone's personal life. The pressure, the depression, not being able to do the things that you used to love to do. It's their livelihood. Right. I said it, not too long ago, and I covered it on my hotline, and I ended up covering it deeper than anyone else, to the point that if anybody does a Google search, my name will still come up. When Crash Holly passed away, Crash Holly, was very devastated of not being able to do, what he used to. And the sad part about it is he was so young still that he probably could have, come back. But, it's sad. That's why sometimes, even with people that I deal with online, sometimes I just take the high road, because you just never know, you're catching someone or exposing someone, or, throwing something out there, whether the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, that might be the one thing that puts somebody over the edge. And
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I had a cousin even. I never, how you have cousins or people you don't know, like third cousins or different cousins.
Yeah.
And I know you live up north, New York. I live in Florida. I had a cousin years ago, and it actually made it to it was in a National Enquirer. Don't know who he was personally, but anyway, this was on the Long Island Expressway. He had a gambling debt. It was basically when the Marlins won the first World Series. I think it was against the Yankees, I believe. So anyway, he winded up taking his own life, or actually the cops, which he didn't want to kill himself, so the cops actually killed him. No fault of theirs. It was like a planned suicide.
Yeah.
And he was depressed over a gambling debt. So there's all kinds of things that happen with people. You never know.
You never know.
That's why I don't like this cancel culture on the internet, because I don't agree with Tommy Dreamer. I didn't with that thing, some of the stuff he said, but I don't agree with going on social media attacking people, and you don't know what they're going through too, or getting them upset.
That's why Dark Side of the Ring, I've said it before, they got to be really careful. They got to be really careful. I mean, I know sooner or later they're not going to be able to resist. They're going to go after JBL, cancel culture. They're going to go after Undertaker. They're going to go after some people. It's just a matter of time. But they're also going to go after other people that are not going to be able to handle it the way that JBL and Taker and others would. And, you just don't want someone driven to the point where, something goes tragically wrong. I mean, everybody makes mistakes in their life, and I'm sure some of those wrestlers from back in the day are very embarrassed of what they used to do. But the idea of, trying to get revenge on someone who may have been an asshole 25 years ago, it's not our place to try to ruin that person's life. I mean,
no,
so
I don't like.
You you can't take things for granted. So
it's like that. It's like that with the politics on Twitter.
Sure, that's why I stay away from most. I'm one of the most boring people on Twitter, and I know it. But I just try to stay out of all the nonsense. I try to stay away from it. It's hard, but sometimes I do.
That's the best to do. Well, take care, guys.
Yeah, you too.
You have a good day. Nice talking to you, man.
Same here. Have a good night, my friend.
You too. Stay safe.
Take care. You too. Very nice call. And with that, Mish, I shut my lights.
Awesome.
And Yeah, we're going to call it for the night. So put that back.
Awesome.
Mish, it's been fun as always, my friend.
It has. I wish we had a better draft to talk about. I wish it was more exciting tonight as opposed to it being kind of a letdown. It's okay. We'll see what they do to recover in the future. I mean, obviously, tomorrow night we've got Breakfast Soup and NXT 2.0. See what goes on with there. Maybe we get some more honeymoon antics with Team Index. Who knows?
I think we'll get a little Braun Breaker tomorrow.
Huh?
I think we'll get a little Braun Breaker tomorrow, and I'm very curious what they're going to do about Isaiah Swerve Scott. Guy hasn't defended the North American Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's...
Maybe
a lot of people were saying last week, like, oh, you know, he's good and North American champion. And I'm like, these people don't even watch NXT. He hasn't defended the title.
He's done shit with it. But
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he'll just throw it in the trash because I'm sure
maybe Regal will either strip him and have a tournament, or Regal will force him to defend it. Would you have Braun Breaker beat him for it?
No, I want him stripped.
Okay.
I don't even want him to lose the title. I just want him stripped.
Okay.
So he doesn't even have the privilege of putting somebody over. So
okay. We'll probably know tomorrow.
Yeah, and then of course got Wednesday, got Dynamite. So I'm really enjoying that show. It's been good lately, you know. But with that said, I guess I'll see everybody tomorrow. So much love, DT. Much love, everyone. Thank you.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend. Be well.
Bye, everyone.
All right, everybody. Gonna jet out of here. I hope everybody enjoyed tonight's show. And before I go, you know, even though I shouted out pretty much all of these during the show, there might have been one or two that I left out, so I wanted to shout out Crazy Cruiserweight. Thank you very much for the main event results. Karrion Kross over Ricochet. T-Bar and Mace still teaming up, even though they are officially split in 2 weeks. They beat the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders, man, you know my feelings on them the last couple of weeks. I am very concerned about their future in WWE, just being honest. Nate, presents coming my way soon. Soon. Oh, I hope it's not the Grizzled Young Veterans, but thank you, my friend. I tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, you know, I don't want to outweigh like some of what you all are sending, but you know, I honestly thought me trying some of this retro stuff, people are gonna be like, oh, he's just making an ass out of himself. But you know, people are dead serious. They're like, dude, I'm gonna send you this. You gotta promise me you're gonna try it. Look, guy sent me all these nitro colognes. These are not cheap. On eBay, some of these were selling like $20 a pop, that they're in demand. And go figure. You know what's funny about it? Goldberg does still dress like it's 1998. That's Goldberg on the back. But I love it. Keep sending them. You know, for those, you could always contact me, dontony@dontony.com. You know, and I'll give you my P.O. box, give you credit for it. Some cases, you know, reimburse you in some way possible. Philip Maffey, we talked about it earlier, about them definitely stacking Raw a little bit more for ratings. And I got to look up when that TV deal expires. Got to look up when that TV deal expires, because something tells me that WWE is trying to work now. So when it does come time to renegotiate, they have to have, you know, getting record revenue is nice, but for USA Network, they want numbers. That's what they care about. So I think this was done to help booster Raw. Brandon Jones, we will see what happens with Naomi. And again, Naomi versus Sasha, definitely something I wouldn't mind seeing. That's if Naomi remains a babyface. Again, everyone, if you missed it earlier, I will post the list of the supplemental results on the channel and on the synopsis. And thank you, Eddie K, for letting me know. Xylot Themes also posted it on Twitter. Joe Punches, yeah, he likes Finn versus Kross. I don't think Finn is a lost cause yet. But, yeah, I think we will see Scarlett. I think we will. I really do. She didn't do anything. Yeah, I want to make this clear. She didn't do anything to piss off WWE. So let's make that clear. It's just they wanted to focus on Kross, not this extravagant intros, Now the draft is out of the way. Now you start focusing on, the next season for Raw and SmackDown. I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should see something. The draft obviously got in the way, as did Saudi Arabia. Shout out to Nero Faye. Glad that she is enjoying the Bray Wyatt figure. Brandon Jones, thank you again for your feedback earlier on The Undertaker. We talked about it also as far as Gable, Steveson. And as I said on the phone call earlier, just because he is signed to Raw doesn't mean that he has to debut right now. We might see progress. In the next couple of months, we may see a little bit of progress. Him in the gym, him working out with people. You might see him training with baby faces. You may see him on Miz TV. You may see him do a little. They don't have to rush him as quickly as we think simply because he was drafted. Joe Punches' his dark choice is Omos to win King of the Ring. And yes, everyone, before we go, smash that like button because I am about to be out of here. So shout out once again to the family. Much love. Posted all of you great people earlier. Now, since the draft is over, tomorrow or Wednesday, I will post a thread in the members only section so you can post your questions for the next video Q&A. So we waited purposely until the draft to be completed. So now you can ask, some of the matches you're looking forward to or anything like that. And Wednesday, I'll be back here for Wednesday Night Dynamite. So if you are part of our Patreon, tomorrow night, 10:05 p.m. Eastern, right on the Patreon Discord. If you want to check out the page, it's patreon.com/Don Tony. And that's it. We made the best of it tonight. Not the greatest draft. Probably one of the more forgettable drafts. Very lazy, but hopefully we'll get some pretty damn good, refreshing matches to come out of it. That's what we got to hope for. And, with the live crowds back, it makes it a little bit more enjoyable. I mean, and nothing beats a really live, active crowd when you're getting a great match in the process. So, yeah, and yes, Bayley is considered a free agent right now, as Asuka and others, because they're injured. Anybody that was not drafted tonight or in the supplemental are considered free agents. Brock Lesnar considered free agent. Doesn't mean anything, everyone. It doesn't mean, that somebody's guaranteed to be released. It just means that right now, they're not ready for a return. Once they do, now WWE could put them whichever roster they feel needs a void to be filled. Brock could show up on Raw. Brock could show up on SmackDown. I mean, with his contract, it's not going to happen all that often, but we could still possibly get the fantasy match with Bobby Lashley. We might see a rematch against Roman Reigns after Crown Jewel. Anything is possible. So, and how uneventful tonight. On SmackDown, Roman Reigns tells the Usos, you leave Paul for dead on Raw. You leave him there for dead if you guys are drafted to Raw. And how uneventful. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville come out. The Usos are drafted to SmackDown. And for some reason, the Usos are mad that Brock Lesnar is a free agent. Wasn't the whole storyline about the bloodline? It's just the family. It's just the family. Why would you want Brock Lesnar to be part of that as well? I don't know. Some of the storyline is a little shaky in my opinion, but be well, my friends. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a good night. And yeah, I'm going to jet out of here. So I'll see you all either on Patreon tomorrow night, right after NXT 2.0, or Wednesday after Dynamite. We'll see who the Joker is in that ladder match. I'm still going my sentimental pick, which is Homicide. I know most of you out there are picking Hangman Page. Hangman Page being in it and winning it makes the most sense because of the stipulation where he could take on Kenny Omega after losing that match with the Dark Order. So if he wins the ladder match, he gets the opportunity anyway. But I'm still keeping my sentimental pick for Homicide. So my email address is dontony@dontony.com. Very easy. dontony@dontony.com. Good night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.